Okay. Rell Black is a community leader in Volusia County. Born and raised in Daytona Beach, Rell is a social and cultural activist, entrepreneur, community organizer, and multimedia personality. He works in radio, print, and digital and online streaming media. Rell is committed to social justice by being a voice for the voiceless by any means necessary. Inspired by the works of Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, his passion for community development, youth empowerment, and cultural enrichment led him to establish the nonprofit organization Community Healing Project Incorporated. The organization is dedicated to promoting education, economics, and health awareness to children and families in urban communities. Community Healing Project has served over 5,000 families in 5 states with initiatives and social outreach work. During our conversation tonight, Rell will discuss his organization's unconventional journey over the past 5 years, highlighting successes and challenges his team has faced in the pursuit of empowering communities. All right, Rell, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. First off, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for joining me. Peace and love, everybody. As Ms. Vitale said, I am Rell Black, executive director and founder of Community Healing Project. I'm honored to be here. I have such a great history with the entire ACLU family. As we all know, you guys have been there for us. And I know it's not about that, but I definitely want to make sure you guys get your flowers as well tonight. Tonight, we're gonna have some fun. I've seen about the last 4 of the racial justice series, and I said, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure to live up to. So I'm gonna do it in my way. I definitely want everyone to be relaxed tonight. I definitely want everyone to ingest what I'm saying. And let's build and let's grow and let's heal from this. So first thing I want everyone to do, I know we all aren't together, but just something I love everyone to do. First, I'd like you to just breathe in through your nose for me, no matter where you're at. And breathe out tonight. Tonight is all about peace and love, okay? In my opinion, the first step to eradicating any problem is all about peace. So remember that tonight is about peace and love. So first of all, thank y'all once again. I'm Rell. Tonight, we're gonna talk about empowering communities by any means necessary. The reason I chose this topic of discussion is it's honestly my lane of work. Running a nonprofit, being young and running a nonprofit, coming from where I grew up, statistically, it's not supposed to happen. Statistically, do you want to be technical, 29 years old as a Black male, statistically, I'm not supposed to be alive right now. So just the fact that I'm here, my team is here. A lot of us are on the talk tonight. Thank y'all for joining the chat. We have a message and we're proud of it. And I just want to share that with y'all. So the first thing I want to jump right into is let's hit it off the top. The definition of racism. According to Webster's dictionary, racism is the systemic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. So if you actually didn't know the true meaning of racism, that's what it is. It's affecting someone politically, economically, and socially. So growing up as a young Black kid, when you see certain images, you see certain influences, you see the way your society is shaped, you do what you have to do to survive. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that narrative. A lot of people say, you know, everyone has a choice, and we do have a choice. And I think that where the racism conversation happens is when you don't allow anyone else to kind of be able to be in a position to make that choice for themselves. You know, if you have two males, let's say 2 father figures. One male lives on one side of the bridge, the other lives on the other side of the bridge. They both love their families. They both work hard. They both want to provide. They both don't want to get in trouble. But due to the way our society is, 9 times out of 10, those young men are going to live 2 very different lives, just based off their race. The first thing I want to jump into tonight, I know everyone wants to sugarcoat around it. Everyone wants to, be afraid to address it. But we have to understand, in order to eradicate racism, you have to understand what it is. Please put your Zoom on. Okay, I'm sorry. I was reading the comments. You have to understand what it is. And you have to understand what it looks like, and you have to understand how to identify it, especially in our communities. When you deal with children in your community and you deal with kids who look up to entertainers, and you deal with children who look up to rappers and athletes instead of politicians, instead of positive influences, instead of people with positive messages in the community. You know, you have to ask, where are those children get that inspiration from? Where are those leaders? Where are those hope bringers that are going to tell the kids, there's more than just chasing that kind of dream. And I think that's what kind of started our organization a couple of years back. Like I said, I'm from Florida, Daytona Beach, Florida. When Trayvon Martin was killed, we had just graduated high school. I was 19 years old. I was in a bubble like everyone else was around the time. We were living. Obama was our president. Everything was great. Life was great. Like I said, I just got out of high school. I had a job. I was going to Daytona State College. Life was great. And it wasn't until that moment where that bubble popped and I realized, oh, wait a minute, that's me. And then you have to take a step back, because I was one of those kids, and all this is a part of my experience tonight, but I was one of those kids that went to a school where I was the minority. I went to Spruce Creek High School. I was the minority, so I had to do a lot of adaptation. I had to do a lot of what code switching, as we refer to it now. I had a lot of learn a lot of second language, pretty much. As everyone knows, we say we know Ebonics and then we know English. So I had to learn how to juggle both in order to survive. And a lot of people don't realize those youth ages at 14 to 18, that's the social development age. That's when you learn how to be a friend. That's when you learn how to trust people. That's when you learn how to be in a relationship. And when you're surrounded by a different experience, like I had, I was able to see different things. If you know my backstory, me and my mom, we struggled growing up, and I'm not ashamed to ever say anything like that, because that's what pushed me to get where I am today. That's what pushed my mom to get where she is today. But we did struggle, growing up, but she pushed me. Academically, she pushed me harder than anyone will ever know. And I'm glad she did, because she saw a way out. A lot of people don't realize education is a way out, and it's harder for African Americans and Black kids in our community, because we are told this very funny thing that, if you're smart in school, you're not cool. I was told that a lot. See, I want y'all to get the background who I am. I was told that a lot. And one of my former teachers is on here. I don't want to call her out, but I see her on she still has her camera on too. But she can tell you, I was one of those kids that they would say I acted too white because of the way I talked. And that affects kids, that affected me as a Black child. And when we talk about going into racism, when we talk about empowering communities, you have to understand the children are the base of the community. I can't change you all. You all are adults. I can't influence your mind to be positive. You know who you are already. But a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old with an impressionable mind can be shaped and molded into a great leader if they have that opportunity. So going back, taking it all full circle, I want to get into Community Healing Project and why we launched the organization, what the purpose was, and what we're here for, and why we truly and utterly are proud of what we do, and nothing's ever going to take that away. So the first thing I want to talk about is our beginnings. Back in 2016, as you all know, the country was going through what I call just the saddest era we've seen in a while, where you saw back-to-back police brutality. You saw nonstop protests. You saw nonstop violence in the street. You just saw people finally saying enough is enough. And around that time, a lot was going on politically. Around that time, a lot of guards were shifting, and people my age started standing up and saying, you know what, I want to get involved. And around my particular community, I didn't see that happening. And at first I was upset, because I was thinking, okay, maybe nobody cared, but that wasn't it at all. Looking back, that isn't what it is. It's just that nobody wants to be the one to climb over the mountain first and get attacked, by the monsters. Nobody wants to be the one to go over first and come back screaming and say, oh, wait, don't do that, y'all. Everybody wants that other person to go first. So I don't know what enlightenment hit me one day, but it just struck me that if I want something to be done, I'm just gonna have to do it. And the first thing I started doing was writing blogs. I had a blog, it was called Negus, and that's spelled Negus, which is Ethiopian term for king. It was Negus with attitude, which is a play on the legendary rap group NWA. And on that blog, I would just speak about things that were happening in Daytona Beach, things that were happening in Volusia County, And then eventually I got into speaking about current events that were happening politically, race-wise, that were going on in the country. And I started getting a lot of attention for that. And I started getting upset because people were calling me an activist from just writing posts. And I got offended because I'm a person that stands on who I am, stands for what I believe in. I said, well, no, I'm not an activist. I'm just writing. I'm just sharing my ideas. And then something told me, they said, listen, if you're going to step into that, step into it completely. So it was later that year. I posted online. I still remember to this day, I posted online in a group on Facebook. And I said, anybody that wants to come out and make a difference, anybody that's tired of the way that they feel in this community, anybody that's young and Black and wants to have their voice be heard for something positive, please join us. So it was about 20 of us. And at first we had one mission. Let's just make the city beautiful again. And there are two of y'all on here. I can see, and I'm so proud that y'all came. I'm thankful that y'all came on here. Thank you. Our first mission was just to make the city more beautiful. We would go around from community to community, literally picking up garbage with our hand, with gloves and everything, but picking up garbage, planting little flowers, little $1 little seeds we would have. We would go around planting little flowers everywhere, and we would conduct neighborhood surveys with the residents of different communities. Just ask them different things about how do they feel about the politicians here, how do they feel about the bus stops, how do they feel about speed bumps, do they want to see less crime? And this was about 6 years ago. So this is around the time when we were just grassroots. We really didn't have a direction. I just wanted to do something. I knew I didn't have $1 million. I knew I wasn't a person that had thousands of followers and all this kind of thing. So the world wouldn't notice it, but I knew maybe if 5 or 6 people here could understand what we do, maybe that could make a little difference. And for a while it did. It really did. And I'll say what really pushed us to get to that point was a man, and his name is still Larry. He was an original member of our group. He's actually passed away by now. Rest in peace. But he convinced me and he told me the truth. He said, listen, Rell, if you want to actually make an impact and you want to take this little dream you have and make it and do it the right way, he said, you need to start a nonprofit. And I laughed because now looking back, I don't know what that was. I was 24 years old. I was on an existential crisis. Every time you look at the news, people my age, people that look like me are getting shot and killed for pulling out their IDs. I didn't know if I was gonna live till Thursday. I didn't know what was going on. I was just trying to make a little difference. And this man literally told me, he said, no, Rell, if you want to do what you're doing and you want to do it legally and actually make a difference, he said, start a nonprofit. He said, make it a nonprofit, make it an official business so you can actually impact more than just 10 people. And I took his words, and to this day, it was hard, but we did it. And it was June 17th, 2017 was the day we officially became a nonprofit in the state of Florida. And just like that, it seems like the movement just grew and it grew and it grew. And it allowed us to start touching lives that we never seen before. It happened so quick. And for anyone that's followed our story, like I said, with the ACLU, with getting to know different people in the community, working with different organizations, it came out of nowhere like a train. We went right into just started doing initiatives, back to school events every year. We started doing the coat drives with Burlington Coat Factory every year. We did the toy drive. We did 5 toy drives in a row with different churches here in the community. Just nonstop work for the last 5 years, to the point where it became more than just a movement or a hobby, as I like to tell people, because I never like to call what I do a job, because I always feel like once it's your job, you no longer have that passion for it. So I always tell people this is my hobby. So you understand, this is fun for me. This is what I'm meant to do. I love doing this. But it got to the point where I couldn't even call it that anymore, because it started becoming my purpose. And that's why I really wanted to, direct the conversation tonight into ways that we can empower communities instead of necessarily thinking of ways to, solve the issues after they already happen. And that's why I think it's so important for organizations like ours to be alive and be present and be active right now. Because if you impact that community and impact those generations right now that can be influenced, in 20 years, you won't have to worry about the existential crime that's nonstop. You don't have to worry about the unemployment rates. You won't have to worry about, the broken families. but it starts now. And I think that over the last couple of centuries, we've been in what I like to call the rat race. And anyone that knows activism, anyone that knows this field understands the rat race I'm talking about. It's thinking that, okay, we're gonna do this and then it's gonna be over and that's gonna be solved. But as we've seen, not only is it not being solved, but it's evolving. So what we've looked at in my team over the last years and with the type of work we've done, we've understood that you're not going to be able to solve the problem. So why not go in and try to fix it from the beginning? Reverse engineer it in a way, or if you like sports, have an offensive version instead of a defense all the time. Go in when these children are young and empower them, give them the knowledge, give them the cultural influence they need, give them the cultural knowledge and empowerment that they need so they can have the self-esteem to want to be greater than just this bar that's set. And we're speaking specifically about race tonight, so I'm not sugarcoating anything. We're not, we're talking. So there's a problem in our community, and I said it before, where teenagers in our programs are so focused on wanting to be athletes and entertainers instead of wanting to, pursue medicine and pursue law and pursue the, entrepreneurship and actually get out here and learn and grow and learn about their money and how their money can grow, because that's the only bar that's been set. And I say all the time, that's one of the biggest examples of racism. And a lot of us don't see it as that. We just see it as, oh, that's just our culture. That's not our culture. Our culture is not to entertain people. Our culture is to empower. Our culture is to continue to grow, continue to build, continue to nourish, and continue to grow with the next generation and make the next generation of leaders. It's not our culture. That's not a cultural right of ours to entertain millions of people. It's a fun thing and we love it and we support it. Don't get it twisted. I love my Beyonce now. Don't get it twisted. However, when it comes to activism, when it comes to this thing called race relations in America, you have to understand those are just influences. Those are entertainers. These can't be the people that we aspire our children to be. No other culture, and I'm just speaking from my Black community, no other culture I know is raising their daughter to be the next Britney Spears or want their son to be an athlete. The first thing they're going to say is be a doctor. Sure, be an athlete in school, son. Sure, be an athlete in college, but be a doctor, be a lawyer, get into hedge funding. Why can't we have those same standards? And I know a lot of people say, well, things weren't handed to us, things weren't given to us. Well, now it's 2022, and we have a chance to reclaim a lot of that. We have a chance to get in there and teach these children about financial equity and teach them about financial literacy and teach them about ownership. Okay, that's the big ownership, because that's wealth and that's power, and that gives a race of people a chance and a voice. You wonder in the society why so many Black people don't vote. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, specifically young people, because I can talk. I'm 29 years old, so I'm talking 30 and under. Specifically, we always ask why young Black people don't get to the vote, why they don't go out, why don't they? And everyone says, oh, well, you have to find an appealing nominee. You have to find an appealing candidate. That's not the problem. The problem is the system itself has been so varied to us, our entire generation. It's been told to us back and forth, that your vote doesn't matter, your vote doesn't matter, your vote doesn't matter. But then on the reverse, your ID, there are all these polling ID laws now. There are all these polling taxes that were in place at one point. So you have to ask, why are these in place? And why aren't young Black people wanting to vote? Back in 2020, during the big election, November 3rd, my actual birthday, I spent my birthday having a March to the Polls event in our community. We marched about 3 miles and about 12 people showed up. And we marketed it very well. We marketed it to the young people. We promoted it like a club event, and 12 people showed up. And it got me thinking, why don't we want to get out and see the change happen? It's because a lot of us have lost hope. And as I said earlier, once we become an adult, a lot of us already know who we are. I can't change you. My little words can't change. They can't influence you. Hopefully they can, but you're already stuck in your mindset. But if we stick to those children and we get in those children's head and let them know, listen, you can be great. You are influential. You are talented. You are intelligent. and let them know all the great things they can accomplish, then maybe in 20 years, we'll have less crime. We'll have less homelessness. We'll have less poverty. We'll have less hunger issues in our communities. You know, going back, and I have a couple notes I just wanted to take, but going over the years, the last 5 years specifically, in Volusia County, we faced a lot of backlash and a lot of criticism because of how abrasive we've been told. You know, how adamant and how passionate. I always call it passionate because I want people to understand this is not a joke. You know, my Black Life Matters. If we can go around and we can put on the t-shirts and we can sing the songs and we can march when it's the cameras are there. Well, when the cameras aren't there, I want to be respected as well. I want my Black life to matter as well. I want it to matter in the classroom. I want it to matter in the workplace. I want it to matter in the doctor's office. You know, I don't want it to just matter when the police are stopping me. And that's what we're instilling in our children and our programs, specifically our Project Goal program, which is goal-oriented leadership development, which is a program we developed for children 14 to 18, at-risk children. And that's another term I hate, at risk, because I always want to know why is it a specific demographic of children that are always called at risk. Me and my mom actually got into a bit of a debate recently because she was upset by that term. And I was telling her, I said, Mom, that's just what we're categorized as. And she said, at risk of what? And it made me sit back and realize these same kids that are being called at risk, you know, just because of where they live or a certain environment, or because they have to catch a bus to school, or because their mother has government assistance, they're called at-risk students. But the children that are, let's talk tonight, the children that are, majority of the children are, you know, shooting up schools and doing these types of ridiculous stunts are not being called that. They're being sympathized with. They're being called mental health patients. You know, and I think that's another line we can get into, because I deal with children. In our program, we deal with the youth. Our children see that kind of stuff, where a young man can shoot up a church and get Burger King afterwards. You know, our children see that kind of stuff at 13, and you wonder why their hope gets dwindled. You wonder why they just want to sell a little drugs or shoot a basketball just to get a peace of mind. You know, they see that stuff. Well, I'm 29 years old now. Technically, I call myself an old man, but technically I'm young still, and that's still affecting me. Literally watching that stuff back to back and seeing how the news and the media and social media and the radio and the films, everything was just throwing those images of Black men being shot back to back to back to back in our faces. Now just imagine what that was doing to those 5-year-olds, those 8-year-olds that are now jumping in high-speed cars at 16, that are now selling drugs at 15, that are now parents at 14 years old because of what they saw. They're so traumatized. They have no hope. So when I say empowering communities by any means necessary, I mean that. You have to get in from an offensive standpoint. You got to get in front. You can't just wait until the kids commit crimes and then want to call the police and then get mad when the police shoot the kid down. We can't do that anymore, okay? And if my passion upsets anyone, I apologize, but we can't do that anymore. It's not working. We can't wait until the young man has a psychotic mental breakdown and then we call the police and then they kill him, like an incident that happened in Daytona Beach, Florida in 2017, 5 years ago this month. His name is Shakari Willis. If you'd like, you can Google his story. I'm sure his family would love you all to Google his story. His name is Shakari Willis. And in 2017, September 2017, he was released from Halifax Hospital, the mental asylum part. And he came home and he wanted to take his life. Well, the police were called, and 6 gunshots later, that young man was pronounced dead. And to this day, that family has no answers. That family, they got absolutely nothing solved. And they were told it was a suicide. To this day, his sister wants me to do a documentary to get that story out to the world. So I want people to understand this happens here. It happens, okay? It's not just something you see in Baltimore. It's not something you see in New York. No, it happens in our backyards. The problem is some of us are still afraid that something's going to happen if we stand up. But I'll tell you this. I did it for 5 years. And I lost a lot. I can tell you that this is all a part of my journey tonight, all a part of my presentation. And it comes with a lot. Anybody that knows about activism and anybody actually that is active in activism understands the mental that comes with it. You understand the pressure that comes with it. You understand the threats that come with it. You understand the concern for your family members that comes with it, just because you're doing the right thing. Luckily today, September 13th, 2022, I'm at peace with my purpose. And I can say that with a smile, because 2 years ago, it wasn't like that. If any of you are familiar with what happened here in Daytona Beach during our George Floyd protests, it was traumatic and it changed my perspective on life. I don't want to go into the entire situation, but I'll give you guys a brief rundown. It was on the news if you didn't see it, but we hosted a very beautiful, peaceful protest for George Floyd right on the International Bridge. 3 hours. We marched all around the city. We protested in front of City Hall, different races, different ages, different nationalities. It was so many people out there with one purpose: love and peace. All of a sudden, the energy just something got into the energy, because there was so much love out there, and it happens sometimes. But something got into the energy, and I was attacked by a vehicle. I was hit by a car. And that day, everything changed for me, because I realized, like I'm telling you all, I was so focused on waiting until something happens to react, waiting for, someone to get shot, you can go protest, waiting for, somebody to cause an incident at school, then go react. I was so busy with reacting that I didn't realize, if we actually want to make an impact, you got to get out there first. You got to stop it from even happening to begin with. That day changed a lot for my organization. That day changed a lot for our scope and my purpose specifically. And from that day on, I learned, and I told myself, we are no longer going to be an organization that reacts to issues. We're no longer going to be an organization that lights the fire. We're going to be an organization that fights with optics instead of options. And when I tell my team that, they always laugh, because they understand what I mean. It's through optics. It's through visuals. It's through impact. It's through understanding that the next generation knows what you do and knows that somebody like you came from where I come from. I was born in the Caroline Village Apartments right off Orange Avenue, Caroline Street, Daytona Beach. There's nothing, there's no silver spoon in my story. There's no privilege to anything that I've been blessed with when it comes to this journey. And that's why I tell people, in order to get to that golden spot that we're trying to get to, and I always say, it's like the Wizard of Oz, because every year we have a new plan. We have a new plan. We're going to get it. This is the year. We're going to stop racism. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And then it never happens. So I think it's time to change the approach. And if you guys just want to take my honest opinion, like I said, from the past 5 years, all we've done is empower our communities through race-based content, through racially empowering, culturally empowering content. So these children, so these communities can understand, even though there is a fight I'm up against, I'm equipped with something. When we started hosting our Malcolm X Day celebrations, we got so much backlash. Nobody understood the purpose: education, unity, fellowship, cultural empowerment. Why can't we celebrate our cultural leaders and feel good about it? Our first year we did it, we got so much backlash, so much criticism. It was ridiculous. It was depressing. But eventually people started to understand, because as they say, as I'm Rell, so by any means necessary, I'm going to let you know how important it is to understand Malcolm X's story, to understand Marcus Garvey's story, to understand Mary McLeod Bethune's story and their journey, and why it's so important for young people to be in those shoes. It feels good to be a leader and do the right thing. And I think if more of us that are on this, it's so many of us on the Zoom, 47 actually, if all 47 of us just got up and just got out of our heads and said, I don't have the answers. I don't know how to solve this issue. It's okay, because guess what? Once you admit that we don't know how to solve it, that's when we're going to get to the bottom of it. We work so hard in these organizations, Community Healing, ACLU, Southern Poverty Law. They work so hard to try to figure out Why is it not working after all these years? Why can't we all just get along in the most famous terms? But I think we all understand what it is. We have to get in front of it and we have to do the right thing. And in my honest opinion, it's about investing in our communities. It's about investing in our children. It's about investing in organizations like Community Healing Project that are out here and are trying our hardest to stop the Big Bang from happening. Because that's when everyone reacts. They react to the Big Bang. That's when you see the activists. That's when you see the lawyers. That's when you see the show when the bang happens. But if somehow we can prevent that bang from happening at all, I think we'll really find the success in all of this. So, like I said, I don't mean to drag y'all. I didn't mean to. I don't even know how long I've been talking. I don't mean to just keep going, but I definitely wanted to do a stream of consciousness tonight. Like I told Ms. Vitale in the beginning, I scrapped my entire. I had a 12-page presentation for you guys. I scrapped it because I said I want to just do a stream of consciousness from the bottom of my heart. It's been a crazy few years. It's been a crazy time right now politically. It's just been hard to do what we do. So if anybody on here would love to be a part of an organization like ours that is in the fight, that loves the fight, and is always thinking of new ways to just do what we do. Listen, if you'd like to be involved, please let me know. Community Healing Project. We are here. Go on our Facebook. We actually have a PayPal link. If you guys like to donate to our organization, we can drop that down below, paypal.me/CHP donate. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we are here for a purpose. And like I've told anyone before, this is what you get. This is what you get. I'm young. I didn't have all the rules when we first started this. If y'all know, I used to be a little out there, but it was passion. And over time, I've matured. I've refined. I don't like the term matured, but I say I've refined, and I've learned to understand that every fight doesn't need to be fought, and every battle doesn't need to be won. So just to wrap this all up, I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank y'all, ACLU. Thank you guys for even allowing me and my team to keep going. And y'all know behind the scenes, we've worked together on a lot of different projects, and you guys absolutely rock. We couldn't do what we do without a group like you all to lead the pace. So thank y'all so much. I'm all ears. I'm here, guys. I'm I'm full of joy. That's just me. But seriously, Community Healing Project. Please Google us. Please find out what we do. Get involved. We've done so much. I know my mom. She runs a lot of background. She's gonna be so mad because I'm not listing every single thing. But just look us up. We've done some really great work. But the point is, please, you guys, invest in those children. Please get out there. You see those kids out there selling lemonade, give them $2. You see some kids out there trying to stay out of trouble, tell them the right thing. All right. I'm Rell. I love you guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Rell. I appreciate you being with us tonight.
Absolutely.
And I want to make sure everyone knows that if they have questions, you can place them in the chat. And I think I did put a couple links in there for everybody. Okay. Rell, I wanted to bring up something that you may or may not remember.
I already know it.
You know what it is?
I know it. And I actually told my mom, I said, this is so full circle. And it's so crazy that, we're able to come together again and just to talk about this. But you can go ahead. You can say it.
Yeah, I wanted to let your audience know how special you are to me and something that happened in my life connected to you. I brought my son, who was a sophomore in high school at the time, to an ACLU meeting where Rell spoke. And he talked about forgiveness and giving young people another chance, maybe not, if you get into a fight at school, maybe not insisting that they get removed from the school, but going through different types of programs rather than, expelling them from the school completely. And the very next day, my son had to make a big decision about a student that he had gotten into a fight with. And it was a pretty bad fight. The video was awful. Several parents were sending it to me while it was happening. So I was still pretty upset myself. And I kind of wanted the student to be removed from the school. But after hearing Rell speak, after that meeting, my son asked me if we could put him or suggest a diversion program rather than expelling him from the school. So when I spoke with the state attorney, I let her know that, and I dropped your name as well. And of course, everyone was in agreement. So it was a big deal for me and my family. And I just wanted to let you know, and I wanted to thank you again.
You're very welcome. I just tell people that's I don't know. That's just what we do. This is what I do, and I genuinely I'm kind of speechless because when I saw your name and it rolled back in my head, and I just look back over the years of the work and what it means. And this is what I tell people: it's not about the cameras. It's not about the media. It's not about the attention. It's about making a difference. It doesn't matter if it's one kid. And I tell people all the time, it's true. It's true. So I'm just thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do that. Seriously, thank you for allowing me to do that kind of work.
Yeah, meant a lot to everyone. Well, we do have a couple comments here, maybe some questions. I don't know if you can see these in the chat, Rell, but I can read them if you can't see them.
I can't see it. We can read them.
Yeah, they might only be for the host to view. So I'm going to read these to you. Liberty says, it sounds like we need to put these kids at risk of becoming powerful leaders. Turn it into something positive.
Yes, Miss Liberty. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that.
Yes.
And do you have any suggestions maybe of ways that we can get our youth to do that?
Yes. The first the first suggestion I would, that's my mom in the background, everybody. Hey, this is my mom. None of this would be possible without my beautiful mother, Katina Johnson, by the way. So the first suggestion I would say, our youth programs like Yeti programs. I don't know if you all are familiar with them. I just want to let you know they're youth employment training initiatives. We actually have a program which is funded by Career Source Volusia. It's our Project Gold program. And what that program does, it gets teens 14 to 18 job opportunities through training, give them soft skills training, give them job training, teaching them about resumes, teaching them about entrepreneurship, teaching them about job etiquette, filling out applications, how to get a job, how to deal with problem solving and different issues like that. And we also give them a financial stipend at the end. And from our last 3 sessions, pretty much, I would say about 90% of our students actually have jobs now. So that's just one of the steps I would say. Just definitely get these kids involved in these kind of programs. So yeah, thank you, Miss Liberty. I love that. I love that.
Okay, and then we have
how I smile when I talk about it. So, I love what I do. I'm sorry.
I'm glad your mom stopped in. That was nice. Okay, so then there is another question here. I don't have a name on this one. It's anonymous. It says, thank you so much for being you. Do your sites list all what your organization does and how one can get involved in different parts of the program? Oh, Joan. Okay, she signed it.
Yes, thank you. First off, Ms. Joan, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for spending time with us, getting to know us, and thank you for being you. Our website is actually down right now. We're actually working on it. It will be back up for the fall, for our fall courses. We have the reason it's down, we have 3 semesters of Project Gold pictures that I have to get uploaded because I'm so extra and I want to make everything special for every student so they can click on it and see, the year they graduated. I'm not a techie, so we're trying our absolute hardest to get that back up. But if you go on our Facebook page, it is Community Healing Project Inc. And everything is updated on there. Also on Instagram as well, Community Healing Project Inc. Everything's updated on there. All our events from over the years. We have calendars, events. My mom will tell you, we have so much stuff. But definitely with the website, just give us literally, I would say about 2 more weeks. We're trying. We've actually been at it since August 14th, trying to get the new site because our students graduated over the summer. So we've been trying to make it special. I'm just a little extra, but our website will definitely be back up.
Okay, so then we have hooray for your mom. What a good job she did bringing you up to adulthood and in activism.
Yeah, thank you.
So that was nice. And then Jessica asks, if you could give anyone interested in following in your footsteps, what would be your number 1 advice? How do you translate that to the kids?
Yes. The first thing I would say, and the main, because I know everyone's going to say be great at what you do and be persistent. No, listen, stay in your lane. Carve you a niche, carve you a lane, stay in it, perfect it, own it, master it. Okay. That's my advice to anybody. It doesn't matter if you want to start a a nonprofit for planting trees. If you want to, clean the ocean, stay in your lane and perfect, because everyone has their lane, so that's definitely my advice, I tell you. Yeah.
And Rell, I was wondering, since your mom is here tonight, and we are acknowledging mom, I was wondering if, for some of us who are parents may need to hear this, but maybe you can give us some examples of how your mom helped to encourage you to keep moving forward with everything that you've accomplished.
Yes. Well, first, like I said, it was always just us growing up. Like I said, on paper, I'm a statistic, single mom, raising, low income housing. So on paper, I'm a statistic. And my mom did everything she could to fight that, and it worked. And I'm so glad. Like I said earlier, she pushed academics and pushed education and pushed that you're not going to be a stereotype. You're not going to be just a normal Black kid as society labels it. And I thank her to this day. My mom will tell you there were days I used to get called stuff like Oreo, right? And you would think it's like funny and cute, right? Like looking back, but that kind of stuff was weird for a kid like me, because all I did was laugh, have fun. But those kind of little issues, mom would tell me, "Well, you unique. Who don't like Oreos?" Stuff like that. As a kid, it really pushed me to understand that, hey, I'm a little different. I have a gift, and I'm going to use it. People from my community don't necessarily talk the way I do. They don't think the way I do, and I think that's a gift. And she's just always told me, instead of trying to dumb yourself down, just let everybody catch up to you. So I think that's what I've done. So congratulations, Miss Katina.
I like that. I like that. I have another question here. Artemis says, I'm very inspired by your strength and passion. We share a birthday, so I feel you in creative community empowerment. When are you coming to Tallahassee? We would love to have your presence in spirits, truth, and several community outreach areas. Many, many thanks.
Yes. First off, just to tie all this in, happy almost birthday. I'll be 30 on the 3rd, so November 3rd, I will be 30. So Artemis, happy early birthday. But I will say this, one thing that my team has understood, and it's kind of a not sad thing that we talk about, but it's more of a, we're so proud of you. We're venturing out. We are definitely venturing out, and we are definitely doing a lot of expansion in the next year, in the next couple of months. And Tallahassee was definitely one of the hubs that we had already pinned down. There are about 4 others. One in Georgia as well. We might as well just say it. Houston was one, Tallahassee was one, Georgia was another, and I know Ms. Miles is on it, she could probably comment down there. But we definitely want to get out and start doing what we've done over the past 5 years, our little bit of what we call our CHP print, kind of like our blueprint, our CHP print. We want to take that to other communities and try to establish partnerships with them, try to change the world one community at a time. And if it takes, one little drop there, but it's so fun. I feel like somebody put that Tallahassee bug in your ear, Artemis. So but we're definitely headed out there. So I'm glad you asked about that. Yeah, please set it up for us. We'll be out there. I promise you.
Yes, thank you, Artemis, for that question. I have another one here from Debbie. How can I get involved and help with your expansion?
Yes, Miss Debbie. Yes, Miss Debbie. Good evening. Good evening. The first thing I would say, honestly, let's please exchange contact information. And this is how serious we are about moving forward. We're actually working right now on, without spilling too much, we are focusing on setting up maybe a new permanent location elsewhere. Something like that. So we are definitely working on expansion. We're definitely going to stay here. Of course, this is our base. That's our home. But I feel like it wouldn't be fair. And this is what I tell my team, and they laugh all the time. I said it wouldn't be fair to the rest of the world if they didn't get to experience community healing project. That wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be right. So that's how we've decided to laugh about it. But it is kind of a tough thing. because this is our city, this is our home, this is our community. These are, these are children that we've grown up with. These are churches around here, so to have to, well, not have to, but to want to grow and learn and get to and experience new communities and do the same thing. I'm excited for it. So I'm definitely ready for it. So I'd love to go and exchange our email conversation. Miss Jessica Miles is on here as well. She can get that exchange for you. So we definitely take care of that. I love that. Thank you so much. You'll definitely be hearing from us.
Yeah, Rell, I'm going to have to give you some of these emails that there are some things popping up here.
Thank you.
Okay, so does anyone else have any more questions for Rell? He sounds like he's very busy. I'm not sure we're going to get him again anytime real soon.
Oh, Lily, we'll fight tomorrow. Well, we're good. We're here. We are.
Okay, well, I think it might be time to wrap it up then, but gosh, this was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ACLU.
Thank you all.
Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and we'll be in
Adios.
touch. I've got another email address. I want to write these down so I don't lose them, and I will either email them to you immediately. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Rell. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
You guys have a good night.
Yeah.
Adios.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone, I wanted to put just a couple more links in the chat for you. And this is in regard to election protection, which is very important. Rell spoke tonight about how many people have not voted or do not vote. And I feel it's very important that, everybody get involved as much as they can. I wish there's more we can do. I know we're running out of time on this.
This is it. This is the one. In my opinion, this is more important than 2 years ago. In my honest
Yeah,
opinion.
I think you're right. And I really hope that everyone can help us. The ACLU has a lot of mobilized programs and phone banking, data entry, all kinds of volunteer positions. So if you have the time, please help us out. We would appreciate it.
Absolutely. I owe you guys everything.
All right, Rell, thank you so much. I will be in touch. I will not forget you. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Have a beautiful night. Seriously.
You too. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Great job, Rell.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome job. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Miss Jen. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming.